my friends, and welcome back to another Foodie Friday. My name is Tiffany, and in today's video, we are making a delicious, quick and easy, creamy pesto pasta with some delicious chicken. There was a restaurant back in Las Vegas that I used to go to all the time with my bestie Ann called Rachel's Kitchen, and they had this delicious pasta dish called Ryan's Pesto Pasta. And of course, I feel a little bit sentimental because I have a son named Ryan. However, it was this delicious pesto pasta with a creamy pesto sauce, and it had chicken, and it had fresh peas, it had sun-dried tomatoes, as well as delicious sauteed mushrooms. And I have been craving this so badly, so I thought, why not try to make it myself? So we're gonna wing it tonight. It is late, it is 5:09. Danny just left with with Griffin to go to soccer practice. I've gotta get Michaela to dance here in about an hour and a half. So I've got a very short window to get dinner cooked so that when they get home, they can eat and she can eat before she goes. So we're gonna get this made. We're also gonna make a delicious, fancy looking, but super simple wedge salad. This is a great way to dress up a salad so your family feels like it's something different and special, but really, it's just cut differently. Kind of like a sandwich, right? Like if you cut it a certain way, it makes them feel extra fancy. So that's what we're gonna do with our salad tonight as well. So if you're here for it, you need a fast dinner, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my friends, to get us started, I'm going to slice up my chicken breasts. So a lot of times I'll purchase chicken breast that's already been thinly sliced. However, when I order my groceries through Walmart, this is the chicken that I always buy. So I do have to trim it myself. I always cut it down into anywhere from 3 to 4 chicken breasts, and that's for a number of reasons. Number one, it cooks a lot faster, and number two, I get a lot more meals and a lot more food when I break this up like this. Also, my kiddos are not going to eat a gigantic chicken breast like that. They're young and little, and there's absolutely no way that they're going to eat all of that. So cutting it down like this is the only way that I work with chicken. So just going to slice these down. Be very careful when you're doing this not to cut your hands. I keep my knives extremely sharp. I am constantly sharpening them. I actually have a really great sharpener that I got on Amazon. I'll have it linked in my Amazon storefront. I've got a section for the kitchen, and it works really, really well. And I use it at least once a week. Just make sure that my knives are nice and sharp. So I'm just going to take a second to season up my chicken. I am using some salt really quick and just going to get that salted up. Then I'm going to grab the garlic powder, onion powder, and black pepper. And I'm just going to season these up. Now, we're going to have our pesto sauce, so it doesn't need a ton of seasoning, but you don't want to leave it bland. Chicken has very little flavor, and I find chicken breast to be incredibly bland. I do not enjoy it unless it is really well seasoned. So make sure you season up your chicken. Now I have a medium saucepan here heating on medium high. I just added a little bit of olive oil, and then I'm going to pop my chicken breasts into the pan. Once I've got them down, I'm going to go ahead and season up the back side of them, and we're going to let those cook. I like to make sure that they get, a nice golden color on them. Make sure they're cooked through. It takes like 5 to 6 minutes per side. Just make sure that they're really cooked through because that can be very dangerous. So now we're going to get started with sauteing our mushrooms. I'm using pre-sliced mushrooms from the grocery store. I'm just kind of breaking up the bigger pieces here in my hand as I'm popping them into a little bit of butter. And I'm just going to saute these until they are tender. I love mushrooms. I think they're absolutely delicious, and they bring a really great flavor to pretty much anything. I love them. My family is not like the biggest fan, but they liked it in this recipe. So we're just going to saute those up until they're nice and soft. The butter will give them a really nice flavor. I do use salted butter, so And you don't want to salt your mushrooms when you're sauteing them. The salt will draw out any moisture that you have in the mushrooms, and it will make them very dry and rubbery. So do not salt your mushrooms. The salted butter will do just fine, and we're just going to take those out and put them to the side until we're ready to toss our pasta. And in the meantime, we're going to add in a 1/4 cup of butter. This is unsalted, and I'm just going to let this melt while I grab the chicken here. It's going to be time to take this out. I grabbed this little dish here. I got this at Home Goods. Get asked about this all the time. It's my favorite. Anything I need to keep warm, I put in here while I'm cooking because the lid just helps to keep it warm. And then I'm just going to get some more chicken going. And while that's going, you can see the butter is melting. It is browning a little because I did cook in it previously, but that's okay. Next up, I'm adding about a 1/4 cup of flour, just all-purpose flour. And you're going to whisk this together. So this is your roux, right? So a roux is just flour and butter. So this is going to be the thickening agent for our sauce. So what I figured I would do is just make a bechamel, which is just milk, flour, and butter. So that's what I've got here, just a cream sauce. And I figured this could be the base of our creamy pesto. So I added in 2 cups of milk, and I'm just going to let that thicken up. Make sure that you've got your heat high enough to bring this to a good simmer, but not so high that it burns your milk. That would not be good. So while that's going, I'm going to pop these frozen peas into the microwave. I love frozen peas. I find them to be very delicious and fresh, and they add a little sweet bite to anything you put them in. So love to cook with those. I'm also grabbing some julienne sun-dried tomatoes, and I'm taking those out. Those are in a seasoned oil, and I'm probably using, once I dice these all up, probably about a 1/4 cup. I didn't put a ton. My kids are not like a big, huge fan of biting into the sun-dried tomato, but they like the flavor that it brings. So I just put a little bit, enough to give it the flavor, but not to have a ton of those chewy bites in there. So you can add more if that's something you like, but it's up to you. So now that I've got my bechamel bubbling here and it's kind of cooked out the starchy flavor, I'm going to add in a ready-made basil pesto. So this is by Classico. I love this one. It's absolutely delicious. And I probably added about between a 1/4 cup and a 1/2 cup of pesto. You can make your own. It's incredibly easy. It literally is like 5 ingredients. It's just pine nuts, basil, olive oil, salt, and pepper, and Parmesan cheese. It's incredibly easy. However, I didn't feel like doing all of that. I was in a hurry, and the sun, as you can tell, as this starts to get grainier and grainier, the video was rapidly going down. So I was really trying to hurry, both so that my kiddo could eat before she had to go to dance, and so I could beat the sun. So now we're going to work on our pasta. So I had my water boiling. Make sure you salt your water and then pop in your pasta. I'm using penne today, and we're going to let that bubble up, and you're going to want it to cook to al dente. That means almost done, but it's still got a little bit of a bite to it. No one likes mushy pasta unless you're my daughter. She loves a good overcooked pasta. She's so weird. While that's cooking, we're going to work on our wedge salad. So I just grabbed a head of iceberg here, and I'm taking out the stem. And then you're going to cut it in half and cut your wedges how you like them. So if you were making this like a whole meal, you could just do one whole side like that, and it would be, you can make a really beautiful Caesar wedge. That could be a whole entire meal. However, since this is just a side, I am cutting these wedges a lot smaller, and not everyone in my family was going to eat this. My littlest son, Ryan, definitely was not going to eat salad. He loves croutons, but don't get him on to salad. Not his jam. However, I love a good salad. So does my husband. My daughter will eat one every now and again. And my son Griffin just absolutely loves salad. So I only made 6 and instead of 7, even though there's 7 of us, but I knew those all wouldn't get eaten. So I've got them lined up here on this serving dish from Walmart. I love that dish. I'll try to link it for you down below. It's incredibly affordable. And then I grabbed some cherub tomatoes. These are delicious. They're sweet and have a nice little bite to them. And I'm just having these, and they're really delicious. My boys will eat an entire container of these. Really, any kind of tomato that I buy, they will just sit and eat the entire thing. For this wedge salad, we're going to use blue cheese dressing today, so I'm just drizzling this across the top of our wedge slices. Again, I apologize for the grainy video. The sun was just going down way faster than I thought, and I had to really enhance the brightness of the video, so I'm so sorry that it's grainy. But you're just going to add your dressing. Now, if you're not a blue cheese fan, you can absolutely use a different dressing. A traditional wedge salad is blue cheese, but it really is up to you and what you prefer. I just added some freshly cracked pepper, and now I'm going to add on our cherub tomatoes, and it's really pretty how they just kind of cascade. And I originally had plans of adding a little bit of bacon. However, the leftover bacon we made last night when we did breakfast for dinner was all gone. So we're topping it with a little bit of fresh crumbled blue cheese, and our wedge salad is ready to go. The time has come to dress our pasta. So I've got our pasta in the bowl here, and I just grabbed the creamy pesto sauce, and I am adding this into the bowl. Now, what I will say is hindsight was that my sauce did get a little bit thick. I should have added more of the pasta water. I added a little bit, but I should have added more because it definitely was really thick. So when you make this, if you find that your pasta sauce is a little bit too thick, just reserve a little bit of water. I probably would add about ½ cup of pasta water to thin it out. Now I'm going to toss in those sauteed mushrooms as well as most of the bag of the fresh peas, or the frozen peas, I'm sorry. And we're going to stir those in, and then we're also going to top it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and it's going to be time to give this a try. Okay, my friends, I literally had to pop on the lights because it got so dark so fast, but our wedge salad is done. It smells delicious. If you're not a blue cheese fan, you can use any other dressing. And our pasta is ready. I am so stinking excited to try this because, like I said, this is my version of a recipe that I used to get all the time back in Las Vegas. So, fingers crossed, here's to hoping it tastes as I'm imagining it will. It does. Oh my goodness. All right, my friends, I am so very impressed with how that turned out. That was completely by the top of my head. I was hoping that it would turn out. I went onto their website and looked up what is in it just to make sure I didn't forget anything, and I am so impressed with how that turned out. So if you give this recipe a try, let me know down below. You can also tag me on Instagram at Charlotte Grove Farmhouse. I love when you guys let me know when you try these recipes. So until the next one, my friends, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week and happy eating.